Hello, this is Pastor Randy from Hilltop United Methodist Church, and I'm here to share another children's book with y'all. So I hope you'll like it. This is a request from one of our children, and it's the story of Ferdinand. And it was written by Munro and the drawings were by Robert Lawson. This is a really nice story about a bull. The story of Ferdinand. Once upon a time in Spain. Look at that castle. That's a nice castle. The castle is in Spain. There was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. Look at them, they're having a great time out in the pasture. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He looks like a happy little bull smelling the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid that he would be lonesome all by himself. Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head, she would say. But Ferdinand would just shake his head. I like it better here, where I can just sit just quietly and smell the flowers. His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was just a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was big and strong. Look, Ferdinand was 1 week old, and then he was 3 months old, and he grew to be this big when he was 1 year old, and now 2 years old, and now he's even bigger than that. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they really wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Madrid is the capital of Spain. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit just quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men in funny hats. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were the very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting in the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Ooh, no. Well, if you were a bumblebee, and a bull sat on you, what would you do? Yes, you would sting him, and that's just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Look, ow, that's what Ferdinand's saying. Oh my, that hurt. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort, and he ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. See, there he is in that cart being taken off to the bullfights. And what a day it was. Flags were flying and bands were playing. It was a party. And all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. What do you think is going to happen next? They had a parade right into the bull ring. First came the bandoleros with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadors, who rode skinny horses. They had long spears to stick in the bull and make him even madder. That's not very nice, is it? Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome. Do you think he's very handsome? He had a red cape and a sword, and he was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull. And you know who that was, don't you? It was Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the bandoleros were afraid of him, and the picadors were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the bandoleros were mad, and the picadors were madder, and the matador was so mad, he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and his sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. The end. Sometimes it's nice just to sit quietly, isn't it? Just to sit quietly and think and smell the flowers. So I hope that's what you're doing right now, just sitting quietly. Well, that was a fun book. And we hope you come back and hear another book really soon. Remember, I'm Pastor Randy. This is Hilltop United Methodist Church. And I love you. But Jesus loves you even more. We'll see you real soon. Bye.